What exactly is Attorney General Pam Bondi thinking right now? Because the series of missteps we've witnessed this year raises serious questions about competence at the highest levels of the Justice Department. The so-called release of the Epstein files, and I use that term loosely, has turned into one of the most glaring failures of transparency we've seen from any administration. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of documents, photographs, emails, and video evidence that remain locked away, despite clear legal obligations to make them public. And this morning, Bondi managed to make an already disastrous situation even worse, through what appears to be either negligence or deliberate mishandling. Images showing Donald Trump alongside Jeffrey Epstein briefly appeared on the DOJ website before being scrubbed from existence. That's right, photos that weren't supposed to see the light of day somehow made it online, and then vanished just as quickly when someone realized the mistake. We're going to break down exactly what happened, why it matters for the ongoing cover-up, and what kind of legal consequences are now looming over the Attorney General's office. But first, I'd appreciate it if you could take a moment to like this video. And if the Mac Media has been delivering the analysis you're looking for, please subscribe. Now, let me show you what Senator Adam Schiff is already saying about holding Bondi accountable for this mess.
Understand what you're looking for. Obviously, you sort of planted the flag on that audit, raising the question. We know they've been through all of the files at least once looking for Donald Trump's name. That was reported by multiple news organizations. Susie Wiles confirms in a series of 11 on-the-record interviews that Trump is in the files. But I wonder if you have evidence that things were tampered with or just concerns that they could be that led to that call for the audit.
Well, when I issued that letter, it was concerns that they wouldn't be forthcoming in what they were going to provide to the American people. And those fears have become all too realized today with this completely unlawful withholding of information from the Justice Department. It is a violation of the law. And I think, frankly, the remedies now have to be stronger than what I earlier proposed. I think we ought to bring Pam Bondi before the Senate Judiciary Committee, demand answers as to why the department has violated the law. It's not just that they had 30 days to go through this to do the production. They've had the whole year to do it. They promised to release the files. They haven't done it. They could have been completely ready for this moment, and they're not. Or they're just simply willfully withholding the materials. I think the Judiciary Committee should do its real oversight and bring her in and demand answers.
Let's be absolutely clear about something. What Bondi has done isn't just questionable. It's a violation of federal law. And it's not a single isolated incident that can be explained away. This is ongoing. Every day that passes without the complete Epstein documentation being made available to the American people represents another day of obstruction. And when I say complete documentation, I'm not talking about page after page of black redaction bars that conveniently obscure anything related to Trump's connections, his conduct, or his involvement with minors. That's not transparency. That's the opposite. A document covered in redactions serves no one except those trying to hide the truth. The legislation that mandates this disclosure was actually signed by Trump himself, which makes the current obstruction even more brazen. So with each passing hour that these files remain concealed, Bondi is actively breaking the law she's sworn to uphold. That's the reality, and it's why we're already seeing movement in Congress. Representative Thomas Massie has indicated he's prepared to move forward, and there's hope that other Republicans will join him in filing articles of impeachment against the Attorney General. If this moves forward the way it should, Bondi won't just lose her position. She'll face criminal prosecution. She's violated her oath. She's obstructed justice, and she belongs behind bars. That's exactly what Representative Ro Khanna emphasized when discussing the impeachment inquiry.
Now, the law, as Lisa said, clearly required all unclassified information being released today. They obviously have not complied with that law. They claim that this is because it was only a few weeks. Well, they've known about this for months. They should have been preparing that. So at the very least, what we need is for the Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General to have a press conference and say, here is what we have released. Here is the timeline of what we're going to release by when to be in full compliance of the law. Here is what we've redacted, and here is why we've redacted this, which is required by the law. And so we'll see what they do.
At this point, do we really need more official statements to understand what's happening? The pattern is crystal clear. What's going on behind closed doors at the Justice Department isn't some mystery we need investigations to uncover. We're watching it unfold in real time. The administration seems to operate under the assumption that Americans can be easily fooled. Take the photographs they did release. Images featuring Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson, and others. There's one photo in particular that's been circulating widely. Clinton and Jackson with two young people whose faces are redacted. The implication being pushed is that these are Epstein victims. But that's completely false. Those young people are the children of attendees at a charity fundraiser where both Clinton and Jackson happened to be present. This wasn't evidence from the Epstein investigation at all. It's an existing photograph from a public event that the administration is deliberately misrepresenting to create a distraction. They're counting on people not doing their homework. And apparently, they also assumed no one would notice when they started erasing evidence they'd already accidentally posted. That's where we are now. Bondi is not only obstructing justice by withholding documents, but she's also tampering with evidence by removing materials that briefly went public. Journalist Aaron Parnas documented this in real time after Midas Touch highlighted the Trump-Epstein photographs that appeared in the DOJ release. Parnas noted, "It appears as though these photos have now been taken down from the Department of Justice's website. If you follow that link now, you'll find exactly nothing. Empty space. The photographs have been deleted. This is evidence tampering, plain and simple. They're concealing evidence. They're undermining an investigation. And they're breaking multiple federal laws in the process." The list of criminal charges that should be filed against Bondi just keeps growing. And Democrats need to be hammering this point home every single day. And here's something else that needs to be said. The person who actually clicked the delete button, whether that's a junior staffer or a mid-level official, that person is also complicit in a crime. This isn't solely on Bondi's shoulders. Remember when Trump declared he was going after every federal employee who showed up to do their job and serve their country? Remember how a huge percentage of those wrongfully terminated were veterans. Trump said he'd come after all of them. Well, now I'm saying the same thing applies to everyone at the DOJ who's following Bondi's illegal directives. This is exactly like the standing guidance given to military personnel. Do not follow unlawful orders. If Bondi instructs you to break the law, refuse. If you comply, you become part of the criminal conspiracy. You become part of the cover-up. That's the message Democrats should be broadcasting right now. I'm encouraged that Kana is publicly stating, "Pam Bondi, we will prosecute you." But that warning needs to extend to every single person executing her orders. If you're going along with this, don't assume you're protected. And don't assume Trump will protect you either, because he won't. They'll throw you under the bus without a second thought. Trump has never shown loyalty to anyone who's worked for him. He demands complete devotion, but offers nothing in return. That's his pattern. It's always been his pattern, and it will never change. So ask yourself, when this falls apart, and it will, who do you want standing with you? Do you want to face a judge and jury alongside Bondi? Or are you really going to bet everything on Trump coming to your rescue? Because he won't. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about anyone. And all the attempts to distract the public, all the red meat they're throwing out to keep the base fired up, none of it will cover up what's happening in plain sight. We can all see it. And the fact that Bondi actually deleted those posts after they went live, how short-sighted can you be? All that accomplishes is drawing even more attention to what we already know. Trump is in those files. He was in those photographs. Deleting the evidence doesn't make us forget what we've seen. That's not how any of this works. Bondi's incompetence is only amplifying attention on the criminality, on the cover-up, and we're going to maintain pressure. Representative Jamie Raskin certainly is, and he had some significant updates about this situation when he appeared on MSNBC last night.
Everything was supposed to be released today. And, you know, back in July, they told us there was nothing left to see there. And in September, Kash Patel testified before our committee, and he said, yeah, we didn't find any potential evidence of any other crimes, which means they've already been through it. And now suddenly they're postponing and, you know, they're prevaricating and, you know, making up excuses all the way. So it's going to be a fight to get this stuff out and to see justice for the survivors who have been very much driving this train, and also to see accountability for whatever other criminals are out there, people who cooperated with Ghislaine Maxwell and with Jeffrey Epstein.
So I can't see what the upside is for Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche to be involved in this. It seems that Dan Bongino has made a decision that he's not going to stick around the FBI because he doesn't feel like being involved in this. They don't have the same protections that the President of the United States has. What Ro Khanna was talking about, things can be pursued, of them if they are not telling the truth.
Well, that's true, except that, Donald Trump is passing out pardons like Christmas cookies right now. So if you're in for a dime, you're in for a dollar. At this point, given how much they've gone along as accomplices in this cover-up, they figure they're better off just doing whatever Donald Trump tells them to do so that there might be, a pardon waiting somewhere over the rainbow for them. So I think, that they're going to continue to stick around. Others like Bongino are like members of a religious cult who wake up on the basement floor one day and say to themselves, somewhere I took a wrong turn and now look where my life is, and they're trying to get out as quickly as they can.
So someone who's looking at a pardon or a commutation very soon is Ghislaine Maxwell. She seems to be the most kinetic character in this whole thing. She's moving forward with trying to get better treatment than she's already got by being moved to a sort of a prison camp. What do you make of how that situation fits into all of this?
Well, this is really the only thing about the whole affair that is remotely transparent, because we can see exactly what's going on. She got subpoenaed on one day by the House Oversight Committee, and the very next day, she hears from Todd Blanche, who had been Donald Trump's private criminal defense lawyer, who had gone over to Department of Justice, who was conveniently assigned to be overseeing all this stuff as the number 2 person there. He goes to see Ghislaine Maxwell. And not to try to find out who are the other co-conspirators, who are the other accomplices, what crimes have yet to come to light that we should be involved in. No, he goes simply to find out what will she say about Donald Trump, and pronouncing himself satisfied. And remember, he got rid of the real lawyers in the case, and but pronouncing himself satisfied with her answers, then suddenly she gets this very sweetheart deal where she goes off to this minimum security camp, and even there is given the 5-star Trump hotel treatment.
Here's the bottom line. You can't make this disappear. No amount of redaction, no amount of stonewalling, no amount of deception will get you out of this. You can't keep delaying indefinitely. This isn't one of Trump's phantom healthcare plans that was always 2 weeks away. There's no kicking this can down the road until people forget about it. This is a full-blown crisis for Trump's administration. This should mark the end of Pam Bondi's career in public service. And frankly, Trump should never have been in a position to appoint her in the first place. There have been countless moments that should have disqualified him from office, yet here we are. But we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep reporting on this story every single day until there's real accountability. If that's the kind of coverage you want to support, make sure you're subscribed to the Mac Media. And leave a like on this video to help push it out to more people. If you've made it this far, drop your thoughts in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one.